same room with a vampire, not know that you're in the same room with a vampire, and they could be stealing your energy, right? There's
Yep.
no defense against that.
There could be a psychic vampire sucking your aura right now.
Yeah, I feel like there is, honestly, but I think that's just us coming up 9 o'clock. It's bedtime. But yeah, how about tinfoil? Could you think you could like wear tinfoil to stop that?
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you do that?
Okay, I'm gonna try that, just in case. You never know when you're gonna come across a vampire and that can suck your blood from the other side of the room. What do you know about Elizabeth Bathory?
She popped up in my research, much like Tracy Wigginton in yours. However,
Yeah.
I did not click on her. I clicked on Tracy Wigginton instead.
Well,
apparently.
you were smart. You clicked on the lesbian headline. I clicked on the Blood Countess headline. I don't know where my mind was at, but next time I'm definitely clicking on the lesbian headline. Elizabeth Bathory. She is probably the most famous vampire in the history since Vlad the Impaler. But you don't know about her, so she must not be that famous. Tracy...
Was she a psychic vampire?
She was not a psychic vampire.
So she was an immortal blood drinker, one of the boring, normal ones.
She fed on and bathed in blood, which I feel like the people that bathe in blood take that vampirism up to the next level. So she was a Romanian countess in the 16th century, so we all know how well my history is, and that's the 1500s for those of you keeping track.
Nice. Not too long after Vlad.
No, we're talking 1450, and then after Vlad, this was 50 years for those. That's math. So she found joy in torturing peasants, which who doesn't? We've all tortured our fair share of peasants in our life, but her torture would range from simple beatings of peasants to stabbings to piercing fingers and lips with iron nails, or dousing them in freezing cold water and letting them die in the snow. So she was a real cold... this is another story of a chick, which weirds me out again. Like, this is a Vlad the Impaler type story that is being, carried out by a female, which just makes it more scary. Rumors that Elizabeth was a vampire began when it was alleged that she bathed in the blood of young maidens. Why do you think she bathed in the blood of young maidens?
Well, there's a lot of lore that blood of younger people can revitalize you and sustain your life, give you more life energy.
And that's correct. That's why she did this, according to folklore. Do you feel like that thing, that concept of bathing in blood or drinking the blood of younger folks, or let's just call it bathing, or how about injecting younger blood into your body, does that make you a vampire?
Based on the definition of vampire that I started with, you would have to sustain yourself by feeding on that vital force. So I would say injecting, no, but if you put it in your mouth, yeah.
yeah, you do. Yeah, I only asked because you read those stories about like some of the Silicon Valley like billionaires, the younger guys that are like trying to extend their life by injecting younger blood into their systems, like basically transfusions.
They've tested like that shit on rats and stuff, and like gotten some favorable results.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Well, eventually, Elizabeth Bathory was walled in to her castle, or inside her castle. She was alive. She only had enough space in the room of the castle that she was walled into for air to come in, and then she could receive food, and that's about it. And then she died years later. So she sat in this room as a vampire, not being able to have any blood, not being able to bathe in blood, until she eventually died. But that is like the...
It's like the worst thing for a vampire, man.
Well, I'd also think that's the worst thing for a human, to be walled in to a castle, and like the only space that you have is enough for like a little crack for air, and then enough for them to throw you a sandwich every once in a while. But that's Elizabeth Bathory. That's the most famous vampire story after Vlad the Impaler. That isn't a fictional story.
Those stories based in reality, real people, is always interesting, I think. But
But do you think? But is it that like much like the mummies of last week? If you base most of the knowledge that you have on vampires of reality, like Elizabeth Bathory, like whatever, Tyler Whittlington or whatever, the lesbian chick, whatever the fuck her name is,
lesbian vampire killer.
Yeah, lesbian vampire killer. Are they that? Are vampires that scary? Like, if these are truly modern day vampires, and do you think they're just like they're serial killers or psychopaths that are killing and then drinking the blood? They're not necessarily like some like supernatural vampire type thing that we know. You know, they have a reflection. They have a soul, sort of, I guess. But they're not like they're not dead people that are coming back to life and becoming vampires. They're just psychopaths.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one explanation.
I think that's scarier, though.
No.
Because that could be anybody.
Well, then we're talking about psychopaths. We're not just talking about vampires. We're talking about psychopaths. But I'm talking about like people that drink blood. There's a mental problem there. It's not a supernatural thing. It's a mental thing. And the fact that how you get that blood, whether it's murdering somebody, biting the neck of somebody, it doesn't matter. These aren't vampires. These are psychopaths, and they have a mental problem.
We're getting a lot of hate mail from some groups.
Well, this is why I don't believe in vampires, because vampires aren't a thing.
They're vampires are at least immortal blood drinker vampires are real.
Yeah, but no, I'm saying that this is how I'm negating your comment in that if your belief of vampires is somebody that drinks blood, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the types of vampires.
I'm saying that is not a vampire. I'm saying that is a person with a mental issue.
And I'm saying that is possibly the reason why someone would do that, but there could be others.
But so explain to me the other rules of a vampire that isn't just mental issue.
I told you. You could have a disease like porphyria where you have a lack of heme in your hemoglobin that would cause you to want to drink blood.
I don't feel like you can have a lack of heme I feel like that's made up.
It's not made up.
What happens if I have a lack of globin in my can I have that?
Then you die.
I just so there's what, let's call it 20,000 people that may have that issue a year, right? Or is that in the world today, or is that every year?
That's just U.S.
Every
cases
year
per year.
Okay,
less than 20,000 per year in the U.S.
So let's say that's the case, and you need to drink blood. That's not. No, I still don't. That's not proof that vampires. And you're the only reason that you believe this is not based off of the supernatural vampire definition. It's based off of the fucking. And this is how you beat me at everything. Because you go to this like generic ass, like, this is my definition of vampire. Anybody that closes their eyes when the light turns on and could potentially drink blood, that's a vampire. And
You're a fucking vampire.
Of course,
man.
I can't negate that because, of course, yeah, okay, that's fine.
He didn't make up this definition. This is what is on the World Wide Web.
I'm just saying that doesn't make a vampire. Vampires do not exist in the sense that we know vampires.
Agree to disagree.
No, we're not agreeing, Adam. We're not agreeing to disagree. Vampires. Tell me this right now. Vampires do not exist.
Okay,
no.
I have a question. I asked Adam this earlier, but based on his definition, wouldn't that mean that anybody that consumed animal blood would also be a vampire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But aren't there plenty of cultures that drink
they're vampires too.
They're not
vampires. Now
you're just being facetious, Adam.
I feel like you have to be careful. I think Chase has a point here. Sorry, Adam. But Chase has a point here that you have to be careful with that line, because then you're kind of like treading into this territory where you're starting to insult.
October 26th, 2018.
A lot of
Chase had a point.
Anyone who drinks blood is a vampire under this definition, therefore they are real.
Okay, so from the supernatural standpoint, Adam, that a vampire is somebody that comes back from the dead, drinks blood, lives off of blood, needs blood to sustain its afterlife. Do you believe that vampires exist?
No.
Okay, so what the fuck? This whole fucking time we're agreeing, except you're pulling out this technicality card that this guy one time needed to drink blood because he had a lack of heme in his globin. And so this is bullshit.
You really would be like the worst person to sit in a like philosophy class.
Bullshit.
Probably. Yeah, that's why I didn't take that.
All this time I was thinking I was schooling you and I was going to win this fucking argument, and then you don't actually believe in vampires. You believe in this technical fucking definition of a vampire.
Yeah, that's how I do it, man.
Yeah,
that's how I do it.
I know. Fuck this.
Should have been a lawyer.
It's my last episode.
All right, so I've got one last story for you.
Okay.
It's going to tie together our topic today and our topic from 2 weeks ago. Creepy kids.
Sasquatch? Oh, okay.
Creepy kids.
All right.
This is a current event story.
Okay. How current? What?
Article was published today, actually.
What? Ooh. Okay.
So there was 2 girls at a Florida middle school, 11 and 12-year-olds. They were caught, but they were waiting in a school bathroom with knives, planning to overpower at least 15 of the other students, kill them, and drink their blood. Okay. The girls said they were Satan worshipers, and they wanted to drink the blood and eat the flesh of the students they killed. Then they were planning to commit suicide in the bathroom. Computers showed that internet searches on how to kill someone with a knife and what type of wound would cause someone to bleed out the fastest were found on their computers. They talked about how after they killed each student, they planned to stack their bodies in a stall and wait for others, because they were only going after small kids because they wanted to be able to overpower them. Stack the bodies until they got enough bodies. Then they were going to cut them up and eat them and drink their blood. They had those knives. They had brought a goblet with them to drink the blood. And again, they were planning to kill themselves afterwards so they could get to go to hell and be with Satan. Absolutely terrifying. Happy Halloween. Thanks a lot for listening. Stranger Than Fiction is the brainchild of Chase Ferris, Allison Davila, and me, Adam Davila. We would love to hear from you on one of our social media accounts. You can find us at Stranger Than Fiction Podcast on Facebook and Instagram, or at STF Talk on Twitter, or check out our website, stftalk.com.